perhaps you could have a little round of reflections or questions which are still in the space, helping us to integrate the different learnings that we had from Zimbabwe, Nigeria, from Jordan, and now even from Egypt. What reflections, as we are moving to the conclusion of this beautiful conference, what reflections are in the space taking us?
I think recently we have faced many challenges because of COVID-19 and because I were at the army, so we couldn't keep it up until this period of time. But now we are trying to relive it and to do like engagements with people, with passionate people from different cultures here in Egypt, in different towns or different places, or even in another countries in the world. We are trying to we are very welcome to collect ideas from passionate change makers around the world, and we are very welcome to everybody who wants to join us here at the Egyptian Genius Innovation Community. Wherever you were and wherever you are very welcomed, and we are very open for networking and engagements. We were thinking of making a collaboration between our project and other projects in different areas in the world.
Thank you so much. And we certainly look forward to collaboration. And Mohammed, do put also maybe your email into the chat for people who would like to connect to you. I was wondering.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much also for being here today and representing Egypt. I was wondering if I could call on a couple of friends from around the world, unless someone is coming in with a sign of hand. Jonathan Chadwick from the UK. Jonathan, I would love to hear your perspective as someone who works on the forefront of economic paradigm shift, in case you can hear us.
Oh, I can. I can, and thank you for inviting me along. I mean, I consider my responsibilities in this instance to be listening very deeply to what people are saying and to learn, because I think that we are now facing a situation where in our own society here, we could be considered to be quite backward. And I think it's very important to turn our attention towards the new perspectives opened up by new thinking, to us at any rate, of indigenous thought. I mean, my biggest lesson for me is to do with the relationship between the individualism that our society has stitched into the way in which it knows the world by extracting identities or units from the world in order to examine them and exploit them. We have reflexively made ourselves into people that believe that we exist as individuals in a very poor kind of way. And I think we're reminded by these concepts like Ubuntu and these other concepts that we've heard about, that that we are we, and that it's very important to understand how collective our lives are and connected our lives are. So I'm very grateful to be here. I'm sorry my comments are a little bit general, but I do believe that it's important for me not to take up too much time and to allow people to talk. But I will say that all the questions raised by Dawood, by Anselm, and by our friends in Egypt, and the questions are very, very important to the world at the moment. The question of what do we have and of what are we a part, to try to understand our history, which I think is something that here in the UK, I think the ignorance is extremely profound. It's so profound that the ignorance appears as knowledge, and the knowledge is itself an obscurity. We think we know because we think that we've dominated the world, and therefore that we have this position of knowing and our history, which of course is so often not the case. We have to share with people whose histories we have shared, and to realize the common roots of our humanity. So I'm sorry, my comments are so general, but I just want to commend the conference and to say how much I've enjoyed just simply listening to people talk. Thank you.
Mr. Jonathan, I have to thank you very much for your words, because all the time that I'm listening to the presenters today and to discussions, there is respect that we all need for everything that it exists or it was before and it will come. And our professor, Dr. Jožica Knes-Riedl from University of Maribor, she said before she left today that there is enough knowledge in the world. It's only the use of it, how we do it. This is the problem. And I see that Mr. Gachichi has raised his hand.
And Jonathan, really thank you for emphasizing our real responsibility to listen to the indigenous voices. And I see in this very moment also the hand of our friend from Kenya, Gachihi, up again. Gachihi, please.
Hello.
We can hear you now.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. It's very inspiring for this comment, the model from Zimbabwe. And the professor talked about Jesus when he asked, what do you have? And then the disciples, and we have fish, we have, in that rural community, people have a lot of potential to transform themselves. Commission model is so powerful and very inspiring, and a model of humanity, of creating an ecological balance. That has really inspired me. And I got lost on the school co-learning, the participatory action research that developed the collective knowledge taken back to the community and back to the school. That was very, very, very powerful and very inspiring. And then from the example from the Egypt, and I saw you, Professor, there, that was so great. Creating resilient culture against the crisis of the capitalism, and from Egypt, learning from there, from diverse culture, and creating an alternative way of life that is more value based on this solidarity. That really, really has inspired me. What I can say, I have learned a lot, and I'm speaking in the park. So the colleagues who spoke about the park, the collective learning, planning, community action, was very, very inspiring. And I think from Kenya, we need to learn from those models that we can co-create a better home for humanity. I'm very inspired for these reflections.
Thank you, Gachihi. We are inspired by yours. And please put maybe your website also in as the pioneering work you're doing on social justice in the marginalized communities of Nairobi and Kenya is probably a very beautiful contribution for next year's IRDO conference. I was wondering whether we have one more voice from Zimbabwe. I can see our young friend Sibu Marengo representing Providence Human Capital. Sibu, can you hear us? Would love to hear your brief reflections, your voice in response to the panel today.
Yes, Prof. Hi. Yes, I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Yes. Okay. No, I'm sorry. I'm having a terrible cold today. But this has been very, very inspiring. Listening to the presenters from all over the world, and as I was listening to those, as Providence Human Capital, we're really learning a lot. And it really reflects on our journey also as a as an organization, as an integral enterprise, and with us. But then when you look at it as Providence, how we embrace the whole philosophy of Ubuntu as an organization, it's also like it's in the same way, but we even went on further to develop it in our own context as an organization, even using totems, increasing productivity, using our own African beliefs that we believe in. We even transformed our department using our own Shona. Shona is a local language, our own Shona names. So when you come to Providence, you mean capital, you won't find the conventional HR department, payroll department, but we went on further to rename our departments using our own local names. And then also further on, even when you look at how we as an organization went forward to fight when COVID-19 actually started, we also applied the philosophy and the principle of Ubuntu, such that as an organization, we currently actually hosting the National Call Center, because to us it was us working on our north. Like when you look at the integral enterprise on our north, the information and technology, I would actually spend the whole day talking about it, but it was quite a really inspiring conference. Thank you, Prof, and everyone.
Sibu, thank you very much, and please put also, if you don't mind, even the website of Providence Human Capital into the chat for everyone. An inspiring case of an organization really taking on also a leading role in fighting COVID in your society and taking really societal responsibility. Great to have you with us, and wishing you quick recovery, Sibu. And as we are moving towards the end, I wanted to invite our dear colleague Kajsa Liden from Sweden, and who is the team coordinator of Home for Humanity. Kajsa, any reflections from your side in response to the panel?
Yes, many reflections. First of all, my deep, deep gratitude for all the work behind the conference and all the contributions from the panelists. I've been in quite some of these meetings with Alexander now, and I always feel that the field becomes just so rich with the different perspectives and knowledge, and always trying to listen very deeply, as you as well said, Jonathan, and sort of have my very Western mindset challenged by all these wisdom from around the world. And I feel being raised in a very Western society with a very individualized mindset. The community approach is speaking so deep to my heart, and today I was so inspired by the Aliyah Mutran school and everything you brought, and I feel, yeah, just what a gift it would be to be able to bring this education to children and to start already there, so children from the start can have this integral approach with them. I really wish that I had, as well as the rich knowledge from Ubuntu and all these approaches, and bringing it back to Home for Humanity, which was the first organization which really started to awaken this approach and new way of seeing the world. I really feel that what Home for Humanity has the possibility to bring is really bringing all these people and organizations together who are operating from a different state of consciousness. I heard a quote not long ago which said that, like, the new Buddha will not arise as one single individual, but it will be a community of people. And I feel we are really building on something here together. So thank you so much, everyone.
Kajsa, thank you so much. It was very beautifully spoken, and connecting us all to the rich activation of community that we heard from all panelists. And I wonder, in the spirit of this community, and as we are beginning to close, could we invite all panelists, maybe now in the other order, with Zina and Leila starting, and then Anselm and Dao, just a sentence or two maximum in concluding this shared panel on how we take our societies integrally into the transition towards a regenerative future. And then we can move back to our dear Darja and then to Anita to take us towards the end. Zina and Leila, please.
Yeah, I think what stood out for me today is how different initiatives across the world can share similar meanings, even if in different contexts, and how we can have those spaces like the conference we're having today. So thank you for allowing that space where we can share the knowledge and the outcomes of such learnings, so that we can keep this learning going beyond only the context of our institutions, but on a global level. So hopefully in the face of so many, a lot of consumerism and neoliberalism, we can have a louder voice from an integral green voice. So thank you for allowing that space for us today.
Shukran, Zina. Is Leila still with you?
No, unfortunately, she had an appointment, so she just left 2 minutes ago.
Thank you for speaking on behalf of the two, and thank you to Ahlia Mutran.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, and thank you, Darja, for all your hard work on bringing all of this together.
Anselm, Dr. Adodo, are you still with us? We may have lost him because of internet issues. I know he was struggling. I can see Dr. Taranika still being with us. Looking forward to a concluding reflection from your side, Daud.
Thank you very much, Prof. I really appreciate the power of the stories and the narrations that have come through this afternoon. What really struck me is the connectedness between all the stories, especially the fact that the humane aspect still holds, that the community and the nature and the way we live in an integral approach is one connected story that binds us all together as one people, focusing at regenerating our now destroyed planet that needs all of us to work and put it back to what it should be, and creating a better world for future generations. And thank you very much for the opportunity to share.
Now, the pleasure to having you with us, and in spirit, your dear wife, Christina, as well, as the co-founder of the Integral Commercial. So thank you so much. Before I see there's still a hand up from Gacheki. Was it the old hand or is it a new hand? Gacheki, if you want to come in, this is a moment for a concluding statement. It might have been former.
Zima is not connected. She's mute.
I was looking to Gacheke's hand. Gacheke, is this a new hand or the old hand?
Maybe Anita can unmute her.
Yeah, Matthias, it was not a question for me, but for Mr. Gacheke, you know.
Yeah, I think he might have left the hand up. So yeah. We just take it in as a signal of a high five from his side. I mean, in a sense of, as a last word from my side, this was a very powerful experience of activating a space together and sharing a collective, an emerging collective story. And I feel a lot of gratitude to IRDO, Prof. Mule and Anita Ras, for the work that you're doing, and Darja Piciga, the amazing work on the integral.
Sorry, it's an old hand, comrade, sorry.
Don't worry, you are with us. Thank you. And the amazing work of translation. Sorry, please mute yourself. Wonderful. Done. The amazing work that you're doing in translating the Integral Green Slovenia Initiative towards Integral Green Europe. And maybe we even could take, in conclusion, before I hand over to Darja and to Anita, a minute for Ukraine, and that in silence and in communion for what the war that has been imposed on Ukraine, and we do that in representation of all other people suffering on this planet so dearly, and to which our integrally social, responsible approach to new societies is contributing. So perhaps we just take a minute together in silence and presence. To an integral green future for all of us, for all of life. Darja and Anita, I hand back to you.
Thank you very much, Professor Schiffer. Darja, maybe you can conclude your part. I would like to thank you also to Professor Schiffer, to all the participants here, all authors. It was great to meet you, to be with you. And Darja, without you, it wouldn't be the second day of the conference now. So maybe at first you say something.
Okay, before I express my gratitude and present some concluding remarks, I would like to ask all the presenters to send us their presentations to be published on this IRDO conference website, together with the papers and videos. We are hoping to create a very inspiring video from today's conference. We will work during the following days on that. But I think the conference proceedings will be available publicly with open access during next week, Anita, as I think you already said this. And of course, I will first express my deepest gratitude to Anita for so much work and excellence in organizing this conference, and also to colleagues in the programming committee, Peter Glavic and Igor Pelko, for their enormous contribution in reviewing the papers and helping to organize today's conference. As we are working within a conceptual framework that emphasizes integrality and systemic perspective. We have several valuable contributions also from the first part of today's conference, which was in English. The second part, for the second part, which is on education, you can mainly most of the contributions are in Slovene, most of the papers, but a few in English, and abstracts are also in English. So we hope to continue on these topics for the years to come. For me, what was presented today, what we spoke today about, is also in a kind of heritage, my heritage to Slovenian society and institutions like the Ministry of the Environment, because as most of you already know, I retired in January last year, but I still continue, and the project that we initiated during my work at the ministry are now continuing, receiving funds and so on. I also participated in several activities that were mentioned, even if my name was not mentioned, but I really appreciate, and I'm overwhelmed with the results of our work, and of course of the work of the participants of today's conference. Of course, Alexander, without you, there would be no integral approach, a creation of our integral models and visions. And I would like to invite you to continue to help to co-create a vision for an integral green Ukraine, because this is a very important task for all of us, and it can also help Africa and other regions to live in sustainable way, as we heard today. My message is, you understand that I am more conceptually oriented. My message is that it's much easier to communicate among cultures and to cooperate, to co-create, share our experience, knowledge, learn from each other, if we have a common conceptual framework. And from the very beginning, when I met actually the first book on integral words approach, this was more than 10 years ago, I found it really valuable contribution to our reasoning about the world. And I think we have proven today that it is possible to embrace with this framework so many different approaches as the ones we have in Europe, but also in all other cultures. So I think it's really worth continuing to develop integral words approach with all different cases, innovations, and also maybe new concepts. Of course, we always said Ubuntu is the philosophy that we need to embrace in Europe too, and learn from Eastern spirituality and somehow a holistic view of the world. So thank you again. I think this could be all, except of course I would like to ask all who participated in the discussion and other participants of the conference to contribute 2-3 sentences for the conclusions of the conference, if possible, this evening, because we would like to, or the latest tomorrow morning, because we would like to include them in the conference proceedings.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again, and I wish you inspiring weekend and to relax a little bit, as we will too.
Okay, dear Darja, thank you very much for your conclusion and for all your instructions, for organizing everything that we did today. I would also like to thank to Peter, Igor, Alexander, Kaisa, all the lecturers, and especially also organizers, co-organizers, sponsors, like I promote them already many times these 2 days. But I cannot forget my dear friend, my dear mentor, a great person who started this conference, Matthias Schmule, for all the efforts he has done for us, for socially responsible society, and for the new name of this conference. And Matthias, I would like to ask you to say something. Thank you.
I hope this is not only a new name. I hope it is the next step in the humankind's development. Because when they brought up the idea of social responsibility, they were not allowed to make it socially wide, and they limited it to corporations. But they introduced the importance of impact by governments and big companies, which means they were indicating, but had no chance to put it financially obligatory. So integral concept is a way of systemic thinking, which I have been working on for the last 50 years. And I'm very happy that Darja remembers that 10 years ago, I invited her to the conference, and she became a very, very good partner.
Yes, I agree with you. And I would like to say that I learned from all of you, from previous experiences and so on, that we need respect, be grateful that we are all members of the community, that without nature we cannot survive, and that all the beings, like it was said before from African colleagues, also plants, they have their stories. We have to remember that we need systemic change all over the world, and to find the real values which will co-create better world. And thank you all for your efforts towards this.
Okay.
So if someone would like to add something, if not, then we will
I would add just this sentence. We are working for survival of humanity. For survival, nothing less.
Not only humanity, the whole nature. But
Well,
nature
humanity
is
humankind, okay, that's perhaps a better word.
yes, the nature is stronger than humans.
We are a self-destroying animal, humans, and we need to have a new mentality, and you're making your contributions.
Okay, so thank you all very, very much. You are kindly invited to the next year IRDO conference. I hope that there will be much more members from all over the world, and thank you for co-creating this one. And if we are thinking good will also come to us back. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye.